Hi, this is Stacia, and today I'm going to go over my second round game played in the World Open Women's Championship. This game was played against Natalie Wisnow, rated 2006 USCF. So I'm playing an expert, and I have a 0 score against experts currently. So let's take a look at the game. E4, C6, the Caro-Kann, D4, D5, takes, and C4. So this is the way I play against the Caro-Kann. It's the Panov attack, and it's a more open game. I like this because I think a lot of Caro-Kann players are more used to closed positions. So I feel like this takes them out of their comfort zone a little bit. Also, my chess trainer recommended this. Okay. Knight c6. Or I'm sorry, knight f6. This is correct. I think this is actually wrong to bring the knight out this way, as natural as it looks, because now white can take with tempo. And if the queen comes out, we can play knight. Well, we can't do it yet. But I think these lines are less challenging. Like bishop g4 and knight c3 attacks the queen with tempo. If takes, I think this is still okay because we get this fork. Okay. White's not getting a huge advantage there, but usually you won't see knight c6. It's usually not as good as knight f6. I played knight c3. E6. This move actually is correct. Knight f3 and bishop g5. Okay, I was not happy to see this move because this is the main line in theory, and well, I think the main line is pretty challenging for white. So I don't think white gets much out of it. But let's continue. I took the pawn, also theory. Knight takes, and bishop g2. Okay, so I have to defend this point. Black castles. I played bishop d3 and knight c6. Okay, and here I was half excited because I was like, with this constellation of pieces, it looks like I might be threatening a Greek gift sacrifice. But if I played this, it would be a horrible blunder, because after king takes, knight check, and king back to g8, I don't think I have queen h5. Yeah, I don't. So I'm threatening checkmate, but black can just play knight f6. And as long as this knight can come back to f6 like this, it attacks the queen, defends h7. That's going to work very well for black. I'm now down a piece and I'm losing. Okay, so the Greek gift doesn't work, but it is an idea in these structures, so it's something to keep an eye on. Okay, so knight c6. And honestly, I didn't really know what to do now. Oh, I knew what to do here. Castle and b6. Okay, here's the point. So I didn't really know what to do. This is the first move out of book as far as I know. And I think I've had this position like maybe once, even in blitz games. But I knew enough to know that it's challenging for white. So here's the deal. White has an isolated queen pawn. So the idea for white is to play with the initiative and play actively and show that it doesn't matter that we have this pawn. If white goes into a mechanical or defensive type strategy, you're just going to be worse because you have this weak pawn and black already has it blockaded with the knight. Black could reroute the bishop and attack the pawn that way. Black already has this on it. The queen's already here. The queen could even come up. Rooks are coming. So basically black will attack this pawn and maybe win it. And if black does that, you're worse. The other thing black could do is trade a bunch of pieces off, and then you're left with a worse pawn structure in the ending. So it's important to really play with the initiative. So I played rook c1, which seems fine. But here's the thing. White has a better move. If you'd like to pause your video and see if you can find it, go ahead and do so now. Okay, so here, it's funny because the computer liked this move better before. I think queen c2 is the way to go. Queen c2 is fairly strong because it creates a battery on the h-pawn, but it also x-rays this knight, which is currently undefended because of this b6 move. So I think queen c2 is a natural response and probably a better move. Now here it says that after knight f6, black is fine. Oh, not true. I have bishop g5. Yeah, and maybe this constitutes an advantage. Now it says knight takes d4 though. So if we take, queen takes, we can go rook fd1. Now we're threatening check. That would pick up the queen. Black takes here. Funnily enough, that defends the queen temporarily. So we take with a pawn. Now I don't love my pawn structure. Queen c5 or queen e5? Both of them attack the undefended bishop. So we take. Okay. I would play this position. I can even take this now. Okay, so this all works out in the end. But it is complicated, isn't it? So I think queen c2 is the way to go. The other way to play, though, is knight takes d5. So if you said this move, I think this move is also good. Black should probably throw in bishop takes d2. And after we take with the queen. But now we can play queen c2. And, okay, yes, this is a tempo. But the point of this is that we have another threat. If black were to try this. Yeah, I don't fully understand these positions. I was going to say bishop e4. Yeah, bishop e4. But computer also says bishop h7 check. Oh, I get it. It's just throwing in this little move and then bishop e4. Okay. Now the queen has to move. And then we're going to pick the bishop up, or pick up the knight. Actually, the computer has a good idea here. It says knight b4. Probably I should see this before I play this way. But I think here we just have to keep defending the bishop. So queen b1. The queen's still attacked. And now instead of picking up the knight, we're going to win the rook. Okay. So yeah, queen to c2. I think is a much better try. Or knight takes knight, followed by queen c2, with the idea of these two things was the correct way to play. But in this game I played rook c1, which is a little bit mechanical. And yeah, my next two moves also I'm disappointed with. And I think during the game I just didn't realize, well, actually I realized that I needed to play actively, but I just didn't find the ideas. So I think this is really good to focus on. Okay, so of course she went bishop b7. Black's solving all their problems and soon will mount an assault on this pawn, so I need to do something. I played a3. Yeah, a3 is... it's a waste of a tempo. It's a waste of a tempo. It's too slow. The problem with a3 is this bishop wants to come here and come to f6 and attack my weak pawn. So I'm assisting black with the move a3. So instead I need to play something like rook e1 would be fine. Just bring my rook to the open file. Then if the bishop comes to e7, at least I'm x-raying it. And, well, kind of the point of this structure is that in return we get these nice open files, so I should put my rook there. The other thing I could do that would be better than a3 is play bishop e4. So the idea behind this move is that, well, this is going to help me defend my pawn. But again, this knight's uncomfortable. I've got two guys x-raying the knight, so black's going to have to be careful. And if they try rook c8, now I can take the knight, and there is no queen takes knight anymore, which is nice. So black would throw in this. I probably have to take. And now they have to take with a pawn. And I think this is an accomplishment for white, because now black also has an isolated pawn. And our pawn's not blockaded by a knight anymore. It's blockaded by a pawn. And yeah, we can go bishop f5, attack the rook. So I think white is a little bit better here. We certainly solved our isolated pawn problem, because now black has one too. Okay, so in the game, rook c1, a little bit too lazy. a3, a waste of a tempo. And black did retreat the bishop. And now once again, I have to find a better move. I played bishop b1, and this is slow. It's just too slow. So I usually like this kind of move, because now I'm planning like queen c2 or maybe queen d3 and just threaten mate. Black will have to play something like g6, but I think this is totally fine for black. They have a dark square bishop that can plug the hole there, and I think this is just not good enough. So instead of bishop b1, what would you play? So it turns out now I have to find good moves just to keep equality. Queen c2 is still an option here, but the computer likes best rook e1 or queen a4. Queen a4 is interesting to me. So black would probably continue with bishop f6. The nice thing about this is now we're defending our pawn from the side. And we're also, once again, we've got some pressure here, some x-ray pressure. But if I try to do this discovery by taking, black will take with the queen defending the knight. So here the computer gives knight e4. Oh, knight e4, like this. Attack the bishop. And it's giving queen c2 now, which is weird. Or rook fe1. So clearly the rook belongs here. Okay, so now let's, now that I've rubbed my nose in my bad middle game, let's watch what happens as a result. And here's the spoiler, it's not good for me. Okay, so after bishop e1, rook c8 was played. I played queen e2. knight f6. Yeah, and now I played the move. I thought I didn't play this. Hang on a second. I played queen d3, I thought. Oh, not yet. Yeah, and okay. So I noticed that my d pawn's under attack. But if you have to play bishop e3, okay, that's not an active move, then you're probably just worse. And computer says mostly equal, but a little bit better for black. But this is clearly not what I had in mind. Okay, the bishop came here. Rook fd1. Queen e7. And I went bishop g5. Okay, so I was kind of feeling good here, like I had some pressure actually. Like, I've got the knight under attack, so moves like queen d3 and queen c2 come to mind because then I could take, and play checkmate. My opponent is 2000 rated, so they're not going to fall for that, but it might cause them to create some weaknesses around their king. And I actually was a bit relieved that the bishop came here instead of to f6. So I'm not sure she found the best continuations either. Okay, but she played, let's see, rook over. And this is a critical moment in the game. So if you'd like to pause your video and find the best move for white, go ahead and do so now. Turns out I have a couple good moves here. I think by far the best move is knight e4. And I definitely saw this during the game. Really confused why I didn't play this way. What on earth did I not like about this? I was looking at knight e4 a whole bunch. I think I was more excited about queen d3, which is a beginner move. I'm being hard on myself this game, but I played queen d3 and it's double question mark because it misses knight e4. Yeah, after knight e4, I'm attacking the pinned knight. I'm attacking the bishop. Computer gives knight b8. I was thinking, let's see, what could black do here? I mean, if h6, we'll go ahead and take this. This is going to be... Actually, I don't even have to take, do I? Let's take this way. Yeah, let's take that way, because now here, and then we even win the pawn. Wow, computer throws in queen d3 now. That's awfully mean. You can't take the bishop because of check. Here, checkmate. See that? So, so h6 is not possible. I just can't imagine playing knight b8. I don't understand that move. Yeah, this is tough. There's just no way to defend against this. I mean, if the bishop moves away, we're going to take here. Yeah, this is going to be a really strong attack for white. Okay, instead of that, I played queen d3 first. And this is a mistake. It allows the move h6. Now we don't have knight takes f6 anymore. Check. So I wasn't ready to give up my pressure, and I was wondering if black plays g5. I thought these sacrifices were looking kind of interesting. So I think I could go ahead with knight takes and and play this way and then knight e4. So that's what I had in mind, but I missed my opponent's idea, which was very good. So after retreating the bishop, she did not play g5. She played bishop f4. This attacks my rook. And I have a history of missing these moves where bishops attack my rooks. And I felt very uncomfortable here. Now, I think the best way for me to wiggle out of this is to take the knight. That would be a tempo on the queen. And then after this, I could play knight e4. So that's a tempo on the queen, queen g6, and only now move the rook. And now that the rook's on c3, I think that's okay. But in the game, it's certainly not what I want though. During the game, I played rook c2. And now, unfortunately, when the bishop came to this square, it's reinforcing g5. So this stops my sacrifices. So I'm not going to be sacrificing on g5 anymore. And what's worse is that after she attacked my bishop and took, now she has to move g4. And now black's dreams come true because this knight was defending my pawn. So I have to move the knight, which I did. And I mean, white is basically lost here. So she played knight takes d4. This attacks my rook. She's threatening check. That's a discovery of my queen. Okay, and I knew I was probably lost here. But in chess, you're never really lost in a practical sense. So you should try to find the best moves and the trickiest moves and allow your opponent a chance to mess up. So I had to shift my thinking to, okay, I'm worse, but maybe losing. But let's try to play the best moves and try to survive. So here I went rook d2. I thought this is the best chance because now I was calculating, well, I calculated the line that actually happens. Knight f3 check. I think I should take with a pawn here. So I took with a pawn. I took back here, take with the knight, here and here. Okay, and if we look at the material imbalance, it's not all that bad. Yeah, I'm down a queen, okay? I'm down a queen. But I have some material for the queen. So like, black has 5 pawns, I have 4 pawns. So black does have an extra pawn. Black has a knight, I have a knight. But I have 2 rooks and a bishop, and black has a queen, a rook, and a knight. So that would be 13 points for white. And the queen plus the knight plus the rook, oh, that sounds like a lot. Oh, I'm not supposed to count the knight. Queen plus rook would be 15. So, is that right? No, it's 14. So I'm basically down 2 points of material. The downside, though, is that I think my position's a little awkward. My king's a bit weak. So computer gives -3 for black. But white can at least fight on here. Okay. So she wants to trade rooks. She's got a material advantage. And I took her up on that because I didn't see anything better. And I like the fact that my rook is making this knight feel uncomfortable for now. Okay, she takes. That's a tempo on the queen. Queen here. Rook here. Okay. And so I thought my best hope here is I need to make sure I watch out for queen h5, knight g4 ideas, because that would threaten some bad stuff down by my king. So I have to keep an eye on that. And the other thing I have to do is keep my pieces coordinated. And right now I like my structure because the pawn's guarding the knight's guarding the rook's guarding the bishop, the knight's guarding the bishop. If I can keep my pieces coordinated, it's going to be annoying for black. Okay, she played king g7. Yeah, and for some reason I drew that arrow. Okay, knight here. Oh, yeah, I think knight e2 is a mistake because of this. But she didn't play that move. She played, or did she? She did play that move. I went knight d4, and she went here. Okay. So I'm watching out for queen h5, king g2. Yeah, like if queen h5, this is definitely uncomfortable, but I think I can go knight h3 and I'm holding everything. Okay, she went there. That x-rays, well, it puts pressure on the bishop. So I moved it. Yeah, and I was looking for tricks because these knights are so tricky. Yeah, and I think this is a blunder. Let's see. Yeah, here I found a nice move. Bishop takes pawn, and if she takes back, white would win. That's a fork. So this little trick won a pawn back for me. So she saw it, so she didn't take the bishop. But I ran away with a pawn. Okay, knight there. Knight e2. And I'll just show you the rest of the game since this is a pretty long video. Oh, I lost my b pawn, but I actually saw that I win back a pawn. Rook check. King there. Take the knight. She takes the bishop. Check. And I win the pawn back. Notice also the rook guards the pawn. So this all worked out fairly nicely. One of my better games in time pressure, I'll say. Usually I fall apart in time pressure. But this game... Okay, now I'm threatening a5. Still looking for forks. Because if you find one knight fork and win that queen, game over. So I'm staying coordinated. See, I think if you stay coordinated, like you have the knight defended by a pawn, the knight defends the rook, then the rook can move to the different squares the knight defends, like these. Yeah, I was happy to see this because now I can win this pawn. I took it. Still a draw. Ooh, big mistake by me. So I failed to see that this move undefends my pawn. But luckily I have knight g2 here. It still holds everything together somehow. I was definitely scared at this point though. So that pins the knight. I come back. Queen g1, threatening checkmate. This is the only move. Takes, check. And hey, this is knight and rook versus queen. This should be a draw. Pretty sure. I just have to keep everything defended. Yeah. And finally, I played this move, which looks silly, but if she takes it, which she did, that is a draw. So yeah, this is an interesting game and actually is quite a victory for me. Even though I misplayed the middle game pretty badly, I managed to swindle a draw, even though I was down a queen. So, so I'll take it, you know. I'll take half points where I can get them. So my first draw against an expert, and I went into round 3 with a score of 1.5 out of 2. So I'll be back with another video. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.